if you can open up a window onto
I don't see it. Put on today's date. It's not showing up.
you're on
Uh,
YouTube, right?
I am on YouTube.
All right.
Oh, once you start the show, I'll start doing that. That way I can click on it. Makes it easier.
Well, I just opened the show, so
Just
you're
open
hearing
it
us
now.
talk about the technical side of it.
Yeah.
Well, you do know too that the way I spell Mikestand is my name and stand all
Uh huh.
cap letters, right? The Mikestand.
Oh, we do? All right. Ooh. All right, here we go. Okay. Uh, yep, all caps. I don't see February 2024. I see February 2nd, February 9th. Um, mm,
I'm gonna put the link to it in the chat here.
yeah, let's do that. I don't see it. Do this again. Ooh.
Okay, I just put. Oh wait, but the thing. Oh wait, you should still be able. Oh, but the thing is, you wouldn't. All right. Actually, I'm gonna put it in the private chat because I just
Oh,
realized you wouldn't see it because
oh,
you're
I
not.
see. I see it now. I see it. Hey, let's share. Come on now. Here we go. Aha.
So were you able to get over to the page there?
Yep. Uh-huh. I did. I did. Um, post. Yep. Post. Post. And so what's are we which particular comic are we gonna talk about?
Oh, we're not specifically talking about comics. This is a niche newscast day. In other words,
Oh, news. Talk about just the news,
we're
right?
gonna yeah we're gonna basically gonna go over a couple of news articles and then also the wrestling wrap up and the
The news and stuff. Right.
yeah
Cool.
yeah so
I'll just
um
keep it simple.
yeah and then of course of this day in each history.
Share.
So
All right.
you
Got it.
all right. So
Bang.
hopefully we'll get some more people in here soon enough. Now
Come
that
on
we're
in. The water's fine.
all right. So now we're almost at the 4 minute mark here. So actually, before we get started, now that we're kind of trying to get the show started here, Apex, you want to introduce yourself? Talk, promote
Hello.
anything? Talk about, share any links.
Good day. Brett Cantrell, Apex Comics, known as Apex on the interwebs. It's my stage name. Like to keep it that way. I've designed a new cover. If you want expand my screen, please, Mike.
All right, just give me a sec.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Brand new cover for Fembat the Creep preview ash can. You see the creep. Looks like he's sneaking up on Fembat and licking her from behind. She goes, ah! It's a very thrilling cover. Plus, you'll have the back cover. Here's the back cover. think about maybe color or black and white. I can't remember. I
Hmm.
don't know which. But if you guys would, if you are in the chat or on the replay, put in the comments to Mikestand, if you would you prefer a full color cover of Fembat the Creep or keep it black and white and a all pink cover like it was before? Put that in comments if you would. Thank you. On sale for $8 with postage. The preview ash can comes with a bonus print as of the next 2 or 3 days. I'll put in the free print with your $8. Be sure to put in your shipping address. Very important. I need to know where to send the books. All right. Appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Shrink me down.
All right. So, anyway, so with that now, so granted, we got a little we're a little goofy here because I had some technical issues earlier with my television here in my room. So,
Right.
but anyways, let's get going with the show here. So tonight we're gonna go over a couple of articles. One from Bounding into Comics, the other from Bleeding Fool. Of course, from Bounding into Comics. Capcom VA Ruben Langdon confirms Newsweek hit piece led to his Street Fighter recasting. Says he's still attached to Devil May Cry because series director saw what a bunch of baloney it was. So that's the one article, and then the other article we're gonna do from Bleeding Fool. Should I go
Someone
with
made the
that?
devil cry in a movie. That's I gotta see.
No, Devil May Cry is a game slash anime. And
Buck up,
Ruben
Satan,
Langdon
you little
plays the
pussy.
voice of Dante, the main character in it.
I'm so sad. I'm so sad. Yeah.
And people have been kind of going after him the last like 4 or 5 years because he sided with Vic Mignogna during all that
Oh yeah.
mess.
That was
So,
stupid. I'm glad Vic won.
um, well, he didn't win the case. I guess he won if you say that he won because his people ultimately believed him, but he did not win the case.
Oh, probably some libtard judge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. The judge kind of screwed him over. Judge kind of apparently didn't.
Yeah.
Um, but anyways,
Right.
and then the other article we're gonna look at tonight: stuttering writer creates comic about the disorder, then gets political. So that's the other article we're gonna go over
Lovely.
as well. So,
Yeah.
well, anyways, plus we'll have the wrestling wrap up, and then this day in Nietzsche. Um,
Uh-huh.
Apex, do you still have the YouTube screen open or did you close it?
I have the YouTube. Yeah. I'm actually on. I have the YouTube open. Yes.
Okay. All right, because basically on YouTube it's still saying only one viewer, and then on here it's saying zero viewers.
If you would, I had a link in the private chat. If you go and put that in the chat, please, for my book.
I don't see it. You said you put it in
It's
the
in your
private chat.
the private chat.
Yeah,
Just
I'm looking at the private chat now. I don't see it.
I'll have to put it in again. I thought I did. Huh. All right. Let's see. Uh, I'll do it myself, I guess. I can't. Okay, I'll put. Oh shoot, what am I gonna do?
I think you're
Uh,
yeah you're a mod, so you should be able to share the link.
well, I can't click on it in the private chat. I think only you can do that.
Hmm.
Uh, hmm. Dadgummit. Hold on. Okay, wait a minute. I think I can get it. I think I can get it. Yes, I can do it. I can do it, guys. Have faith in me. There we go. Yes, here it is. Do you know how to pin the message?
Oh, um, I think I do if I remember correctly.
If you go to your YouTube channel, not the Straight On Yards, but the YouTube channel,
Yeah.
on the side of it, 3 dots, just click it. It'll say pin the message. You just pin it and it'll just be up there.
Yeah, but I gotta figure out a way around the
Oh,
because
because wonderful way it does. We're off to the mic stand, the wonderful mic stand. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Psh.
all right, there you go.
Cool. Thanks. Da, 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 da. Looks great. Da, 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 da. Thank you. Thank
And
you.
there's the link, of course. But I think you should have been able to put it in the private chat. I don't know why you weren't able to there.
I did. And I clicked it. I copied from the private chat to the YouTube chat successfully, and then you pinned it. Is it?
Well, I'm not. I still not seeing it here in the.
You're on your StreamYard. You have to look in the YouTube section.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, wait. Didn't you put it in the private chat in the StreamYard though?
Yes, I did. And then I copied it
Okay.
and I pasted it into the regular chat, the comments chat, and then you pinned the message.
Yeah. Okay.
Teamwork, baby.
Yeah, I know. I was just trying to figure out why I couldn't find it in the private. But anyways,
It's all right.
with all that being said, all right. So now that we talked about what's on tap for tonight, why don't we go ahead and get started here? Let's get to the article.
Let's do it.
So here's the first article, and it's in the video game. And now the thing is, Capcom, Devil May Cry. Now Devil May Cry, that one is a video. It started out as a video game franchise, but also was developed into an anime. But anyway,
should have retitled it "The Devil Is My Little Bitch." If I sell more copies. Yeah. What do you think, chat? What do you think, people watching replay? Please put in the comments if you prefer that or what I just said as a new idea for the game. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah. So anyways, yeah, I know. Like Rex is streaming right now, and I know.
Streaming is Rex's drug of choice.
Yeah,
pretty much.
But okay, so Capcom VA, Ruben Lang, and of course Apex as always. If anything grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. Yes. And for those in the chat, or what have you, if you can, please like and share the stream. See if we can get some more friendly people here to engage. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. We'll try to answer the questions to the best of our ability. So with that, Capcom VA Ruben Langdon confirms Newsweek hit piece led to his Street Fighter recasting. Says he's still attached to Devil May Cry because Sony's director saw what a bunch of BS it was. Bunch of baloney. So, article by Spencer McCooley, published February 19, 2024. So, basically yesterday. So, following months of public speculation that given a recent string of absences from a number of recent Capcom outings, his personal socio-political opinions had resulted in his being labeled a persona non grata by the Japanese developer. Voice actor Ruben Langdon has clarified that while a misinterpretation of his words has indeed resulted in his expulsion from the Street Fighter franchise, it has had no effect on his continued performance as Devil May Cry's stylish protagonist. And that's him as Dante in Devil May Cry right there.
All right.
Dances with Deadpool, who's voiced by Nolan North in Marvel vs. Capcom 3
All
Fate of
right.
the World 2011. So,
Cool.
as previously reported, suspicions surrounding the longtime Ken Masters and Dante voice actors' expulsion from Capcom were first raised in 2021 when, following a dishonest attempt by Newsweek 3 years earlier to paint him as a right wing extremist and conspiracy theorist, based on both criticisms he made towards the potential for corruption inherent in the Black Lives Matter
Oh Lord.
and Me Too movement, as
Me
well as.
too.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Me too. Me too. What?
I
Yeah, I
think
know.
you know
Um,
the answer to that.
yeah.
Um, as well as his compliments he gave Vic Mignogna's character amidst the height of the Kick Vic campaign. The Devil May Cry Peak of Combat um, mobile game was inexplicably released with not Langdon, but rather CM Seymour um, in the role of the franchise's red-coated lead. Fan fears toward the voice actor's firing were then compounded when in 2022 it was announced, likewise without explanation, that rather than Langdon, the series' Red Geed Shotokan practitioner in the then upcoming Street Fighter VI would instead be brought to life by David Matranga, who, of course, one of his more well-known roles is as Shoto Todoroki in My Hero Academia. That's an anime.
Of course.
David Matranga is a voice actor based out of Texas. He's done work.
Based.
He's done. He's done. He's done work both with well, now Crunchyroll obviously, but what was like Funimation, and then out of Dallas, and then out of Houston with like ADV, and eventually uh, Sentai Filmworks. So, anyways, and unfortunately for those seeking clarification on the matter, the next few years would see their questions left unanswered, and rather than publicly comment on his Capcom career, Langdon chose to maintain radio silence, instead shift his attentions to raising awareness on such topics as UFO disclosure, the U.S. government authoritarianism, such as their campaign to force COVID vaccinations,
Yeah.
and social media censorship. So,
Sure.
what would you say? What would you say based on what we've read so far? Would you say that he's a pretty based guy there, Apex?
Pretty basic. I think working in a business like that feels like you're in a communist country trying to walk on eggshells, trying not to get fired. They'll fire you for anything. I
Yeah.
mean, why would
Well,
anyone
actually,
do
aside
that?
from Capcom, I think for the most part, most of the Japanese companies do not take too kindly to what the West does with their properties.
Thank goodness.
I think overall they don't, even though I know Yellow Flash has like sat there and theorized that that might be changing because you have, at least like with Sony, you have
Oh my gosh.
some Western influence starting to creep in, letting some of the Westerners sit on their boards and decide what they can publish and what they can't.
Western wokies, destroy them all, please. They're useless. Dead weight. Get rid of them. To the trebuchet, you wokies. Launch you into space on a dying planet. There you go. And continue.
Yeah, well, in a moment, just trying to make sure that
Oh,
the count stays up until we can actually get more people in here.
don't worry about it. Just do our show. They'll come.
Yeah. However, this silence would eventually be broken on February 19th, yesterday, when thanks to organization efforts provided by video game centric YouTuber Mikhail Casanova, streamer and ESTV minority owner Tenryo the Light, Twitch streamers Boomer Tiro and Captain Dave Beard, and Twitter user at the otaku at the one otaku one. Langdon hosted a Twitter space discussion with the intention of setting the record straight regarding his future as either of the developers' iconic red themed heroes. There he is again as Dante in the game Devil May Cry 3. Dante's Awakening from 2005. Beginning on the topic of Street Fighter, the voice actor unfortunately confirmed to listeners that not only was his dropping from the role of Ken permanent, but that it had, in fact, been directly caused by the aforementioned Newsweek hit piece. Quote, so 2019, unquote, recalled the voice actor, recapping his side of the story from square one. Quote, I'm back in Japan and I did an interview for some guys out of Florida in brackets here, YouTubers, Toy Bounty Hunters, Hero Hay, and Yellow Flash. Yeah, and I think I watched a portion of that interview too, maybe. The details of which can be found in our previous coverage here, unbracketed. I didn't even know them very well or what their background was. They just asked me if I could come on and do an interview for Devil May Cry 5, since either it just came out or was just coming out.
All right.
Okay. You were saying all right, so I didn't know if somebody was in or what. But
no.
Quote, in that interview, they brought up this whole fiasco with Vic Mignogna, and because I had worked with Vic, they were sort of asking my opinion, unquote. He detailed, quote, I had no idea. I didn't know what kind of trouble Vic was in. Now, just to let you know what he's talking about, as I told you before, Devil May Cry was initially a video game franchise that was given an anime adaptation.
Yeah.
And it was the group out of Houston, which of course Vic was a part of at the time, that did the dubbing for the anime adaptation.
Yeah.
So I think that's what he's talking about when he said he worked with Vic. He worked with Vic on that particular adaptation because Vic, at the time, I think it was ADV Films that was doing the dub of Devil May Cry at that time, because that was back in the aughts.
Right.
And Vic was still there and in good standing with them. And I think for the most part with ADV/Sentai, I think he more or less still is. I don't know why they haven't brought him back, aside from the fact maybe they're not as big as Funimation, and they have had some people from Funimation started working with them. But then again, along with Vic, right, a number of other people started out with ADV and eventually went over to Funimation. Vic was one of them, of course. Monica Monica, Lucy Christian, the Ayers brothers were some of the others. But just so you have a better idea of all that. Let's see. I didn't know what was going on there. They had asked me some questions about my experience working with him, and I just told them, in smaller quotes here, hey, as far as I know, Vic's been a stand-up guy. He's been a man of his word to me. I can't say him otherwise. And as far as I've seen him navigate things with women and that kind of thing, of course, he seemed like a ladies' man, but it never seemed like it went much further than that.
Right. It's a ladies' man.
Yeah. Well, what they were doing to Vic was just wrong, and
It
even
was. You're jealous.
I mean, even I looked at a lot of the examples they were giving,
Yeah.
and it was when you look at some of the stuff he's talking that they were trying to use as quote unquote evidence against Vic there.
Mm,
Um, it was kind of weak.
very weak.
Okay,
Yeah.
I've met Vic before too. Okay, and yes, he's a naturally very affectionate guy. And
Right.
people have often commented because he's Italian too. That may be
Sure.
playing in. Okay,
It's all in the genes.
um, on everything I've seen that they use as quote unquote evidence, there's only one thing. There's only one thing that I would say maybe he should have been a little wiser about at the time this happened. He probably didn't think to, but then people were bringing it up again.
Uh,
Like back in 2013, he was at a convention and he was the host of a cosplay contest,
all right.
right? And there was a situation where one of the contestants happened to be a very young girl.
Uh,
Okay, like I think she was like three to five.
oh,
Now he was dressed up as Captain Kirk. This little girl was dressed up as Wonder Woman.
that's cute.
Um, yeah. Well, now at that time, he made what some people would call in dad joke fashion.
Right.
In dad joke fashion, what he
Mm-hmm.
said was what he said something along the lines. He says to the little girl, "What are you doing later?" You know.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
in
Right.
hindsight, that might not have been the wisest thing to do. It
No.
was more in dad humor form, though. It
Right.
was, he was not trying to pick up a little
Oh my
girl.
God. Of course not.
And
Oh.
people, they look back at that and they say, "See, he's a creep. He's a p word." Look at that. But even when now, Grant, I personally I think maybe he should have used a little more wisdom about that.
Yeah.
Maybe
Discretion. Sure.
discretion, but it was still fairly innocent. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, um, but when I was covering that, when that when they were bringing that up too, when I was covering that as a news item, right?
Yeah.
Um, one of the points I made because everybody was trying to vilify Vic over that, and one of the
Oh.
points I was bringing up is, well, hey, the parents got to take some blame here too, because you know now you know the publishing history of Wonder Woman, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know who. Hey, Rick, how you doing there? Uh,
Rick.
Rick's
Good to see
popping
you.
in before and of course, Rick, feel free to share your link to your show later on the night after our show,
Cool.
after the show here if you want. But anyways, but one of the points I made is, well, the parents got to take some blame here too, because who would let their yes, in some ways it might have been cute, but considering that
Uh,
Wonder Woman was, it was pretty well known that that Marston's there did kind of infuse his own fetishes
oh,
into
bondage and yeah, I
yeah
get it.
the
That's
bondage fetishism into that. You
yeah.
know, should parents really be letting their 3 to 5 year old, you know, child, particularly their daughter, go
Yeah.
out dressed like that? It's funny because it also reminded me of an episode of Seventh. Have you ever seen Seventh Heaven?
No, I've not. I know what it's about, but I've never
Yeah,
not seen it.
it was a family drama. Family drama.
Yeah, Stephen Collins.
Yeah, Stephen Collins was the star of it. You also had Jessica Biel, Barry
Yeah.
Watson, Catherine Hicks, among others. Well, in one of the episodes, they were um, they were dealing with the whole idea about respecting women and
Yeah.
Just the basic decent respect you give them.
Sure.
And there's a portion of it where Ruthie had started to idolize this particular band, right? Who was known for dressing kind of very provocatively.
Yeah.
And so Ruthie, of course, wanted to go to their concert, emulating their behavior. Annie was not happy about it, and and they had kind of, and what they did as part of the episode, they had a little sit down girl talk time that you saw. They were in Ruthie's room. It was Ruthie, Annie, and Lucy, the middle daughter, and Annie had said, "Come on, sit down, both of you. I want this is something I think we should talk about." And she even made it a point to say, "Lucy, you should listen to this too." And one of the points she had made was, yes, women should be able to go out in anything they want, including a t-shirt and shorts, okay, if they want to. The only problem is that there are a lot of guys out there who think that that's an automatic invitation to be disrespectful towards them. You know what I mean? Apex?
Yeah. Invitation to screw. Got it.
Yeah, basically. But and then Annie at one point asked Ruthie, and Ruthie, I think it's like 8, 9, 10 years old, around that age at this point.
Right.
She asked Ruthie, okay, so she asked Ruthie, well, why do you want to dress like this so much? And she goes, well, because I want to dress sexy. And then Annie asked her, Annie asked her, do you know what that word means? And she goes, no. And then Annie points out, well, don't you think you should know what the word means before you go dressing like it? I mean, it was a good piece
Yeah.
to watch,
Sure.
But going back to the point I was making with he should use a little bit more discretion of that. Now, back in 2013, people weren't hyper sensitive to.
No.
Oh my God, he just propositioned a 3-year-old. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's like people weren't like overly, looking back on it, it was dad humor. In hindsight, maybe it wasn't the best thing to do.
No.
But that's kind of like, but that's the only thing that I would say I would have had some quote unquote criticism with Vic. If I did have a chance to talk to him about that, I would have said, hey, maybe this wasn't the best thing to do when this happened. Not that I would be dumping on Vic or anything like that.
Oh, tone it down, Vic, for crying out loud.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be like dumping on him like a lot of people did there, and trying to make the jump from the dad humor to he's a creep pedo,
Right.
Making that kind of radical jump.
Yeah.
But aside from that, most of the other stuff that they were presenting as evidence either was not that strong, or there was no corroborating evidence to really suggest. In fact, there have been a couple occasions where things that they were trying to suggest as evidence, the people actually involved in the situation actually came out and denounced. I remember there was a one photo of Vince at a con in England, I guess in England, where people were saying he was trying to feel up a young girl there, a teenage girl, like 14, 15. And even the girl herself had come out and said, no, that's not what he was doing.
No.
And she even said, my mother was even there. My mother, had no problem with it. So, I mean, there again, but anyways, let's get back to
got a date with the mom. There you go.
Yeah, so and Vic himself has even admitted he's a bit of a ladies' man, but
sure,
but but it's still he still goes after adult women. He's not going after, of
course, of age,
right? So, anyways, All right. So, quote, then you hear all this stuff, and I'm like, I can't comment on that, unquote, said Langdon. Quote, so then I started talking about other stuff like the Me Too movement and Black Lives Matter, and
Ugh,
how those groups
it's fake.
start off as a good thing, but
They are.
oftentimes they get hijacked. And at that time, I guess it was still a little too early to say that because now we know. Look at the leaders of Black Lives Matter
Mm-hmm.
and what they've done with the money and all the stuff we know with the Me Too movement and all unquote. Now of course here's one of the issues I have with the Me Too movement too,
Mm.
and we dealt with this in the Bible.
Yeah.
Do you remember Potiphar's wife?
No.
Okay, I don't know. Have you read the Bible before or no?
Of course.
Okay, so so this goes back to Joseph, son
Yeah.
of son of Jacob. Okay, during his time when he was a slave to the Pharaoh, and he had gone in, I guess, do tend to his chores in Potiphar's wife's room, and she was trying to come on to him, and
Mm.
he just wasn't he wasn't having it. No, no, she was really wanting to kind of engage with him. He was not
Yeah.
having it, and then she turns around and basically screams and accuses him of trying to assault her.
Oh, okay. I think I've heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, so kind of like that scenario.
Right.
But anyways, quote, so, unquote, he continued, quote, calls me and says, quote, in smaller quote, hey, we want to do an interview with you in regard to your comments that you did in that podcast, smaller quote. And I said, smaller quote, yeah, sure, absolutely, smaller quote. This was all done by email, and I have the records. I have the receipts. And I said, in smaller quotes, sure, I'd be happy to do an interview and talk about what I said about Me Too and Black Lives Matter and clarify if you wish, unquote, said the voice actor. Quote, however, when it comes to Vic, I'm not going to comment because I don't know the situation and it's not my place to say anything, unquote.
Yeah.
So, quote, in brackets, then, unbracketed, this Newsweek article by that writer, no idea who it was, came out and was basically taking things that I said in the interview out of context or with no context and just saying in smaller quotes, Ruben said this and this and this about Black Lives Matter and Me Too,
Yeah.
that I'm a right wing extremist, that I'm a UFO alien believer, crazy nutcase, unquote, the voice actor said. Quote, which is crazy because 2 months prior, Newsweek had interviewed me for a magazine article, Newsweek Special Edition, Life Beyond Earth,
Oh,
talking about ETs and extraterrestrial life.
cool.
They did an article on me, and I'm highlighted in a positive way. Um, quote, this other guy from Newsweek puts out this total fake news article, unquote. He then opined, quote, I was telling my wife how fake news is a real thing and how even mainstream media goes in and does hit pieces on other whistleblowers.
Yeah.
This this is the conspiracy theory stuff before my situation, and she was with me,
Yeah.
but not really. And then this whole thing came out, and she was witness to everything that happened. Unquote.
Right.
Um, anything you want to on what we've read thus far? Anything you want to chime in on there, Apex? I know you haven't really chimed in on anything. Didn't know if you wanted to chime in on anything thus far on what we've read so far.
Well, it appears that people should be waking up to the mainstream woke media. It's all a big hive mind. They're all in it just for spin and not really reporting the true facts.
Hmm.
And there you go.
All right. So, anyways, so some people wrote Capcom. Quote. So some people wrote Capcom, particularly bracket Street Fighter series producer Yoshinori Ono-san. Unquote. Noted Langdon. Quote. He saw it, and I guess he lost his bleep.
Mhm.
He didn't understand the nuances and didn't bother to reach out to me and ask in smaller quote, what the hell is going on? Smaller quote. He got super scared and actually called. I remember this very clearly because this was a few days before E3 started. Um, my partner calls me and he goes, Ruben, uh, what the bleep did you do?
Oh,
And I'm like, in smaller quote, what do you mean? I didn't do anything. Smaller quote. In smaller quote, you don't realize how much damage you've done. We just lost the Street Fighter gig. In smaller
damn.
quote. And he said, now in this case, I think when they say his partner, I think in this case he's talking about his business partner because
Right.
he obviously mentioned he had a wife too. So I mean, this is his
Sure.
business partner he's probably talking about here.
Of
You
course.
know, just the fact that we even have to clarify that
I
it's kind
know.
of
So
ridiculous,
just
right?
assuming everything's gay, might as well just spell it out. Yeah.
Uh, let's see. And he said in a small quote, "Yeah, because of that Newsweek article, we the in brackets motion caption company bracket and then bracketed again just
Yeah.
cause productions that I was no longer a part of actually lost a multi-million-dollar gig on smaller quote because Ono in a sense thought that I was still part of the company, which I wasn't, didn't do any research, any homework, didn't look into it, or even bother to have a conversation. Unquote.
Uh,
And again, that's another thing too. People will just automatically assume things. They don't really stop to really think about what's really being said or like really
right.
look at closely.
Put a spin on it.
People just say, "Oh, somebody just this 40, 50-year-old man just touched this this young girl or just said something inappropriate to this 3, 4 year old girl that it must out of context you know that must automatically mean that he's you know it's like people just take talk about taking a jump. It's like it
Yeah.
reminds me of a TV term. Have you've heard the expression "jumping the shark"?
Yes, I do.
It doesn't sound quite like what these people do. They jump the
Yep.
shark.
Yep. Fonzie on water skis, jumping over a shark. That's how it's got started.
Mm-hmm. Quote: I tried to arrange a meeting so I could sit down with Ono-san and explain what happened. That this was all taken out of context. This was not the case. It was a hit piece, literally from this Newsweek guy. So it may be this one Newsweek. I don't know. I don't. Can't really say about Newsweek as a whole. I know
Right.
Newsmax is right leaning. That much I know. But Newsweek, maybe this one guy at Newsweek is hard left. You know.
They
Uh,
are. Been that way for a long time.
uh, he asserted, quote, but Ono-san wouldn't have it. He wouldn't even take a meeting. It was crazy, unquote. And that's Ruben as Ken Masters right there.
Right.
And Street Fighter has also been made into actually a couple of anime series, I believe,
Yeah.
2 or 3 of them. So,
Yep.
quote, everybody was trying in brackets here to get me a meeting, unquote. Langdon told his host. Quote, so I just left it as is. Did my apologies to my partner. And so I go, I'm sorry that this has happened. This way. This is just crazy. Um, world we're in, it turned out later that there were issues. Oh no, he publicly quit, but
Uh,
there was a lot going on there, and
uh,
I think Capcom was ready for him to move on.
yep. Moving on.
And the project met all kinds of delays because of that. Um, there were script issues. Even the director was switched and off the project. Um, there were a lot of issues. Unquote.
Like a Kathleen Kennedy set. Star Wars. Yeah.
Quote. So basically, all that happened. Unquote. He continued. Quote. Years later, COVID hits, and then yes, I'm very vocal about the jab, about the forced in brackets vaccinations,
Yeah.
um, which is a breaking of a Nuremberg Code from World War II to force inject anyone with anything without their consent. We're already learned this lesson, and just to see this industry, my industry, the entertainment particularly, take that stance broke my heart,
Yeah.
and I was like, I don't want any part of this. Unquote.
Right.
And we know how Hollywood generally is.
Of course.
Yeah,
Far left libtards.
you still have a few. You still have a
Few
handful
conservative.
who are
Yeah.
still
Few.
right leaning, but
Yeah.
people like Dean Cain, like Danica McKellar,
Matthew McConaughey.
Matthew McConaughey. So
Yeah.
but following this lengthy testimony, Langdon then assured fans that while he may no longer be gracing their speakers during the occasional round of Street Fighter, neither the Newsweek hit piece nor his personal opinions had any effect on his continued role as Dante. And Dante is his bigger role. Dante is the role he's pretty much known for in Devil May Cry.
Okay.
So, quote, and so a few months after that, unquote, he told listeners, in bracket here, Devil May Cry series director Hideaki, um, and in bracket, I don't know if that,
Who can't speak
yeah,
Japanese?
Itsuno-san
Suda-san.
calls up and says, quote, or Smalley goes, hey, Ruben, can you come back to Japan and do a mocap? We're going to do a special edition of Devil May Cry 5, smaller quote. So I went back and I asked Itsuno-san and my partner too, quote, what's the deal? How come you guys didn't flip out over in smaller quote Ruben's Newsweek article, smaller quote, and they were like, smaller quote, yeah, we just looked into it and it's fine, unquote. So apparently they didn't see anything wrong with what was said.
No, of course not.
I guess any reasonable person, anybody with any reasonable
Yeah.
or any decent amount of intelligence would figure out, okay, yeah, this is bull.
Exactly. Come on now.
Quote, so the DMC team, Devil May Cry, including looked into and saw what a bunch of baloney it was, unquote.
Uh,
The voice actor laughed. Quote, including Itsuno-san. Um, they did the research and totally validated that I didn't say anything to offend anybody, or I wasn't whatever Newsweek tried to make me out as.
right.
All the lies, so it was fine. Unquote.
Lies. Yeah.
Quote. I haven't talked to Tsuno-san lately. Unquote. He added. Quote in brackets. But as far as I know, our relationship's fine. Um, I haven't been canceled. I haven't been spanked or told otherwise. And that could mean verbally spanked.
Spanked. It's spanked.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Wow, we went quite a bit of time here. We're at the 49-minute mark. I was trying to keep it under an hour, but look, it might go slightly over an hour, but that's okay. To this end, Langdon then explained that his absence from Devil May Cry, Peak of Combat, was not due to his beliefs or views, but rather budgetary constraints on behalf of its developer, the China-based Nebula Joy. Yeah, I think I'm gonna save the other article for tomorrow night. Just
Do it.
simply,
Yeah.
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 um,
Good
then
idea.
I'll have at least something to go over, and then of course Thursday I'll be doing the indie comic showcase.
Cool.
Um, quote: The night before the recording, I got an email from the lady saying, "We're so sorry to do this to you, Ruben, but this project has been canceled," unquote. He said, quote, and I knew that was sort of okay. Something happened probably with the finances
Yeah.
where they weren't able to afford it or something along that line, unquote. Quote, they, they literally probably didn't have enough money to finish the game or at least hire professional voice actors
Mm,
or whatever, unquote.
yeah.
Rubin then stressed, quote, that doesn't mean I was canceled. This doesn't mean Capcom hates me
They
because
hate me. Mm.
this happened with the, in brackets, 2007 Madhouse produced, unbracketed, anime and other projects. It wasn't up to Capcom to cast me, unquote.
Uh-huh.
Quote, we're talking about budgets. We're talking about outsourcing, unquote.
Yes.
He ultimately concluded his side of the story. Quote, these are things that Capcom doesn't necessarily, or Itsuno-san doesn't have the power
Suno-san.
over the
Suno-san.
Chinese company. Everybody's working within these parameters. And it didn't work out. And just because it didn't work out doesn't mean I was canceled, unquote.
Oh.
So let's see.
It's
And
okay,
that's the
guys.
end. As of writing, Capcom has not offered any public comment on Langdon's above claims.
Of course not.
All right. So as I said, we're gonna push the other article back to tomorrow night because we're at
Yeah.
the 52 minutes now. So I'm gonna start moving things along. So did you want to add any comments to or give any analysis of what we just read there, Apex?
Well, no, not really.
All right.
It's
So
good.
with that, then what we're gonna do, we're gonna move on to the wrestling wrap up here. As
Wrestling.
w, as WWE gets ready for this weekend's um, WWE gets ready for this weekend's elimination chamber. Take a quick peek to go back to last night's Monday Night Raw to see what happened there. As this
Monday
is
Night Raw.
This is the go home show before this week, as they'll be heading to Perth, Australia this weekend
I've
for.
always wanted to go to Perth. My God. I was in the Navy and twice I was on a nuclear uh, aircraft carrier, the Nimitz. Once they teased us back in 1991, the first Westpac tour. Said, guys, we're going to Australia. We're going to Perth. We're going to have fun. This, and this all week. They've been shilling us with that information. And then later, here comes Captain on the intercom. I must apologize to every crew member on the Nimitz that we are not going to touch down in Perth, Australia, as they will not accept nuclear vessels there. And it went, okay, fool us once, right? Here comes 93. This is before all the guys' dads were on board on the Tiger Cruise. That's what we call it, like the last week of the cruise before we head on to the United States, right? And
Mhm.
so it was about a month or two before that. They're all teasing us about, oh, we're going to Australia. We're going to Perth, guys. This will be great. We're going to enjoy the beach. We're enjoy the sights, have fun. And the same announcement a week later. This is the captain speaking. I must apologize to every crew member on the USS Nimitz. We are not going to touch base in Perth, Australia. Have a nice day. So we're screwed twice,
So
man.
you were in the U.S. Navy though, Apex?
I was a signalman,
A signalman.
and yeah, it's like
What rank did you get to?
I was an E3, and
An
so that's
E3. So let me see
E3.
if I ever
That's petty
E3.
officer third class.
Wouldn't that be a seaman?
No, it's a rank above that.
Oh, E3.
Anyway, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, made some decent money,
Hmm.
saved up.
So
Yeah,
then,
it's fun.
would that have been a petty officer then? Petty officer third class or
I don't
something?
like the word petty officer. I don't know why they say that. I mean, just call ourselves. I don't know. Uh, petty. It just sounds like, oh, it's not serious. Oh, it's so petty. Oh, it's not important. Like I never liked that title. I never
Well,
did.
now granted, I
Uh,
got my information from Wikipedia, but I was
but
looking.
you're right. Yeah, that's right. But anyway, it was a great job to have on the signal bridge. You're like the lifeguards of the ocean.
Hmm,
You get to look out for Morse code signals from other ships, other flag signaling,
mhm,
the whole works, and we communicate directly to the captain if
hmm,
when we had
mhm,
to, which is really cool.
yeah,
And on like daytimes, we're on shore on a regular location, like Bremerton, Washington, for example. That's where we're stationed.
mhm,
We had like bankers hours from like 10 a. Anyway, it was like 7 in the morning to like 10 a.m. And then we're off to the bars, off to get a little tipsy here and there, play some games, and it's fun times, man. Fun times.
mhm,
Get to see all kinds of concerts.
yeah.
Fun, great times.
Uh,
So yeah,
okay.
Perth, Australia. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, what I was trying to point out was now maybe things have changed since you were in the Navy or something like that.
Oh, a lot.
But
Yeah,
I did look up the grade, I guess what they call the grades and stuff like that. Partly because I was of course interested because GI Joe and all that, and I want
yeah.
and Star Trek and all that. I wanted to know more about that. So as I understand it now, right? So E1 is a seaman recruit, E2 is a seaman apprentice, and E3 is a seaman,
Just seaman. Yeah,
and then four through six are
E4.
petty
I was E4.
officer.
Sorry, E4. E4 is the payoff. Yeah,
Oh, you were E4.
I was E4. Sorry, I
Okay.
got E3 and E4. It's been a while. Yeah,
Okay.
my bad.
So yeah, E4 is petty officer third class, and then petty officer second class for 5 and 6 is petty
Yeah,
officer, and then you get the chief petty officer at E7, senior chief petty officer at E8, and then I
Master
guess
Chief.
master chief at E9. Basically, and that's a naval and the Coast Guard designation.
That's
So
where these guys know a lot more than these officers. A lot more because they've been on the boat a long time. These officers come from college. They come from a boot camp. Barely even know anything about the Navy. They come on and they take charge. How are you going to take charge of something if you're not as familiar as the chief or the master chiefs or senior chiefs on these vessels? That's why all these master chiefs, these chiefs and senior chiefs are around for these officers to ask questions to learn so much
yeah.
detail and
So
information.
anyways, back to what we're originally talking about. I know we kind of got sidetracked there, but as WWE prepares, of course, for this weekend's Elimination Chamber in Perth, Australia, um, they had their final last chance battle royal for the women's elimination chamber match, in which the final participant was to be selected, and in that battle royal, Raquel Rodriguez made her return and earned the sixth spot in the elimination chamber. Um,
Do you have
Drew Ma-
footage of that by any chance? Any
no,
wrestling?
I don't.
Okay, I like to see that. Oh well,
But
look it up ourselves.
Drew McIntyre defeated Cody Rhodes um, in an 8-man tag match. The Judgment Day of unified tag team champions Finn Balor and Damian Priest, along with Dominic Mysterio and JD McDonough, defeated the four men of DIY of Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano and Awesome Truth, R-Truth, and The Miz.
Oh, you mentioned Mysterio. Was it Rey Mysterio or
So
somebody else?
Dominic Mysterio, that's his son.
Okay. Wow.
His son, and his son is a heel, and his dad's a face. they
So his
actually they
son
actually
says,
had a bit of a feud last year, in fact.
really? Oh,
Yeah.
that's interesting. Does he move around like an acrobat like his father?
No, I think he's a little bit bigger than Mich. I think he's. I don't know is exact like
It's quite,
Mysterio is like Rey Mysterio. I think
yeah.
it's like 5'5", 175.
Yeah.
Okay, his son. I'm looking at it now. His son Dominique is 6'2", 216.
Yeah. He's a bit of a beefcake there.
Yeah. So
Staunchy guy. Strong.
yeah. So Chad Gable of the Alpha Academy defeated Ivar of the Viking Raiders. In the main event, Gunther retained the Intercontinental title over Jey Uso. Of course, extending his record-breaking reign as IC champion.
Mm.
So, and of course, when we get to Thursday, I'll probably talk more about the, what's going to be happening at Elimination Chamber. As this weekend in wrestling, there's going to be quite because you got Elimination Chamber happening in Australia on Saturday. Now on Friday night, I believe TNA is going to have its No Surrender.
TNA.
Yeah, total nonstop action. They were Impact, but went back to total nonstop action.
Is there TNA in TNA when people watch it?
Yeah, I mean they have what they call the knockout
Sweet.
division. The women's division. Their women's
The
division.
hot girl cat fight match. Yes. There
No,
you go.
no, they don't do that. They actually are legitimate wrestlers, but they're very good looking.
This time we're going mud wrestling in the cage. Ladies, present yourselves.
Oh boy.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah.
So anyways, and then I know over the weekend MLW had its burning Crush event.
Crush.
I'm not going to go back all the way back to Thursday to highlight everything. I think we past, but that was a major like pay-per-view, as it were. So I should at least do that one as soon as I can find it here.
Yeah.
Read it off.
Right. Ooh.
There it is. Burning Crush. That was the event, which happened this past Saturday at the 2300 Arena, formerly the ECW Arena. The opening match was a six-man tag that saw Griffin McCoy, T.J. Crawford, and Tony Deppen defeat Nolo Katana and the team of Wasted Youth of Austin, Luke and Marcus Mathers. In a four-way match, Zeta, with Brett Ray Goslin in our corner, defeated former MLW World Women's Welterweight Champion Delmi Exo, along with Notorious Mimi and Kiara James. The MLW National Openweight title was on the line as Jake Chris defeated champion Ricky Shane Page via DQ. So Page still retained the title, I believe, but Chris won the match. Tom Lawler defeated Matthew Justice in a one-on-one match. In a Lumberjack and Joe match, Brett Ray Godlin, with Zeta in his corner, defeated Love Doug.
Okay, Tom Lawler, is that son of Jerry Lawler by any chance?
No.
No relation?
In fact, I think he even spells his name. He's not related. No, but the late Brian Lawler, a.k.a. Brian Christopher, is the son of Jerry Lawler.
Oh, really? Okay.
I don't know if you were watching WWF back in the 90s or what have you.
I've watched wrestling for like the late 80s until 2003.
Do you remember the tag team Too Much, Too Cool?
No, I don't think I have.
That was Grandmaster Sexay, Brian Christopher, and Scotty Too Hotty.
Scotty Too Hotty, yeah.
Grandmaster Sexay, he was Jerry Lawler's son.
Oh, okay, right.
And I don't know if you knew that, you might have known this, but Jerry Lawler and Honky Tonk Man are cousins.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay, and in a tag team match, Crazy Max of Satoshi Kojima, the current MLW heavyweight title holder, and Shingo Okumura defeated the World Titan Federation combination of Davey Boy Smith Jr. and Richard Holiday. That's basically the son of Davey Boy Smith, British Bulldog.
All right.
And in a Bukkake brawl match, Maids Cruel Kruger defeated Jacob Fatu. Now, Jacob Fatu is another member of the Inoue Samoan family. He's basically part of the same family that like Roman Reigns, the Usos, and Rock are all part of. And there's been a lot of talk that WWE, that once his contract with MLW is up, WWE is very interested in bringing him into the WWE.
Right.
So, but that's all the wrestling wrap up we're gonna do for now because we're already out. So
Past their hour.
yeah. So what we're gonna do now is today being Tuesday, February 20th. We're gonna take a look back at this day in Nietzsche history. History. So first off, we're gonna head back to 1964. And I would actually like to wish a happy 60th birthday, to actor and comedian, French Stewart. Now I know some of you are asking me, well, why would I? Because this guy has done some voice work, including Icarus
from the Sun, right? That guy.
I believe so. I believe that might be the guy.
It's good.
Bob Allman in God, the Devil, and Bob, which I guess is the lead character in that, maybe. Orville and Bartok the Magnificent, and then Gaston, Phineas and Ferb episode, Runaway. So happy 60th birthday to French Stewart. So let's.
Wow, happy birthday, French Stewart. Hey.
Yeah. So, yeah, he's best known for playing Harry Solomon in the NBC sitcom Third Rock from the Sun.
That's such a great show. Oh man, it's so fun.
I never watched it, but
it's worth a watch. Trust. I think it may be on Tubi. Check it out. It's free.
It's just one of those newer things. I just not really something that I necessarily gravitate towards.
It's funny. It's very funny. Yeah.
But yeah. So anyway, so happy 60th birthday to French Stewart there.
Happy birthday.
Anyways, moving on to the next piece of Nietzsche news here. Moving ahead to 1994. On this date, 30 years ago today, in 1994, WCW held its Super Brawl 4 event from the Gray Civic Center in Albany, Georgia. The main event saw Ric Flair retain the WCW World Heavyweight title in a Thunder Cage match over Vader, who had Harley Race in his corner, with special referee the Boss, the late Ray Traylor. So this now he wouldn't be the Boss for too long because the WWE sent a cease and desist order to WCW to tell him, hey, no, he can't be the Boss. That's too close to the Big Boss Man, which WWE had the
Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
To set him straight.
Yeah. Let's see. Dustin Rhodes, Flying Brian, and Sting. You know, and it's kind of funny. Sting's coming up on his retirement match in a few weeks too.
He's got to be what, 60 at least? Sting?
He's 64.
Wow.
Yeah, he's gonna have his final match on March 3rd at Revolution. In fact, one of the other news pieces I didn't even talk about here tonight, that I can talk about for a moment. He had actually reached out to Kevin Nash to see if Kevin Nash wanted to be part of the activities there.
Yeah.
And Kevin Nash unfortunately couldn't do it. He can't even be in attendance because he's under contract. He's under a Legends contract with the WWE. So he can't be part of it. So
yeah.
Well, the three of them defeated Paul Orndorff, Rick Rude, and Steve Austin. This was before Steve Austin became Stone Cold Steve Austin. He was still stunning Steve Austin at this point. In a Thunder Cage 6-man tag team match. Other matches saw Cactus Jack and Max Payne defeat the Nasty Boys via disqualification in a WCW World Tag Team title match. Lord Steven Regal retained the World Television title over Arn Anderson. And then the show opened up with Harlem Heat, at the time calling themselves Kane and Cole before they went by their real names of Booker T and Stevie Ray, defeating the tag team of Thunder and Lightning.
Mm.
So 30 years ago today, Super Bowl IV took place from the Gray Civic
Yeah.
Center in Albany, Georgia. And 5 years ago today,
Mm.
5 years ago today,
Today.
as soon as I pull it up here, the fifth and final issue of Errand Boys from Image Comics went on sale on this date 5 years ago today. The fifth and final issue of Errand Boys from Image Comics went on sale on this date 5 years ago today. It sold for $3.99 with 28 pages.
Came in like a whisper, came out like a whisper. Never heard of it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, it only ran for 5 issues. The only reason I even highlighted it was because it ended on the fifth issue. So,
Right.
but
So,
anyways, with that, I thank everybody for being here tonight. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. Apex, thank you.
thank you.
If
Welcome.
you want to stick around for a moment after the show, for a post show and all that, what did you think of the show tonight?
It was good. It was different, and I had a good time.
Well, I think you came on with me before when we did news articles once
Yes.
before.
Yeah.
I just decided to try to I figured I'd try to do that again, just having co-host on. Um,
Get a
but I
fresh.
know there were a number of people streaming, so that may have been why we
Yeah.
had. But if you guys want, go over. Rick may have already started. In fact, his show is going to be it's probably started already. If you guys want to go and check him out. So with that, I thank everybody for being here, and I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow. Oh, and of course, we'll be back here tomorrow. Bye.